All right. So, welcome to the Toddcast. I wanted to talk to you about a few things that are pretty near and dear to my heart. Some DIY projects that I've been working on, some things that I have done in the past, and just to let you know that anyone can do these things. Because if I can do them, anyone can do them, trust me. Anyway, there's been some intimidating things that have happened in my life, and I've learned from all of them. But I think one of the most intimidating and terrifying things that I've ever learned in my life was how to hold a flashlight for my father. I don't think you realize as a child that you can do something wrong by just holding a flashlight. I just distinctly remember sitting, my dad calling me over and saying, "Hey, I need you to come and hold the flashlight because I'm going to fix the plumbing." And I walk over, boop, 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 and, grab the flashlight and standing there holding it. And, all of a sudden you get a little bit bored and you sort of staring around, you're looking around, and all of a sudden you get this, "Hey! Put the flashlight on where I'm looking." And you're like, "Whoa, okay." So you do, and you get scolded a couple of times, and then you realize that it's actually not that difficult to just do the job with some gusto, if you will. Anyway, so having learnt some of those things, I get asked a few times here and there at work and even at home, how have you learned how to do these things? And I think one of the things that I can definitely attest to is that I had a dad and a mom that didn't let either my sister or I get away with not trying to fix something ourselves first. If it was broken, we tried to fix it first, and then if we couldn't fix it, that was maybe if you were lucky when you got something new. But it didn't really happen like that. It was normally a case of if it's broken, well, it's broken, and that's because you've broken it, and that's it. You're not getting a new one. So we learned really quickly not to break things or how to fix them, which was pretty cool. But yeah, that was one of the things that people asked is, how did you learn these things? And it's probably where I went with it. But, a little bit of some YouTube tutorials and a bit of willpower never hurt anyone. And now that I've learned these skills, no one can take them away from me. It's kind of like having a superpower, but instead of flying or shooting webs from your wrists, you can unclog a drain without having to call a plumber. And that's pretty heroic. Trust me, when there's a turd floating in the toilet and you can fix it, and you make your partner or yourself very happy because you don't have to stare at that little turd anymore, it's a pretty big deal. So just learn how to do it, because if you don't have the money and you don't have the money, you don't have the means, you got to have the willpower and a good plunger. That's basically what it is. Anyway, but there's been a few things, but one of the other fun ones that I have started to do is a lot of woodwork, and using a hammer for the first time. I was more dangerous than a toddler hyped up on sugar with a permanent marker. But every time that I bent a nail or I collected a splinter in my finger, I learned something new. And, now I'm pretty confident that I can build a lot of different things out of wood or whatever. I built my partner this gorgeous Shadowbox coffee table. And now all of our treasures from all of our various adventures are now displayed in our living room, which is incredible. But the first table that I built, it was wobbly enough to make a Weeble look stable. But I stuck with it, and the first table that I built, it was, it fell over faster than a wounded baby gazelle, and now the one that sits in our living room is sturdy and it looks fantastic, and it'll probably last forever. So I see all of these things as a victory, and then my girlfriend and I are out in the yard and we're busy doing some gardening, and I said to her, be careful of digging a hole too deep over here, because this is where our main water line is. And she said, yeah, no problem. And then 30 seconds later, it was me. I hit it, and it was like a geyser just went off. It just and it was pretty entertaining, because that went off, turned the water off. She looks at me and she goes, I have to go back to work, so I'm going to leave this in your capable hands. Now, bearing in mind, it's Saturday at 4 o'clock in the Cayman Islands, which means that tomorrow is Sunday, which means that nothing is open. So, and it's Saturday at 4 o'clock, so everything is closing in the next hour. Anyway, so I do my thing, cut off the piece of pipe that is broken. I drive to the hardware store, I get all of the couplings and everything that I need, all of the glue, blah, 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 come back, and what an idiot. Anyway, I glue all of this stuff back together again. I'm so impressed with myself. I've dried it, I've glued it, it's set, everything's working perfectly, and I go and I turn the water on, and it's pissing out of the piece of pipe that I cut off and took to the hardware store to size. I never bought a new piece of that pipe. I bought the couplings to reattach it all on, which is fantastic. So I just reattached on the broken one, which means that I had to drive all the way back to the hardware store, go and get a new piece of pipe and new couplings, cut a whole new piece off of it, and come home and do it again. Anyway, I come home, my girlfriend looks at me and she goes, huh, you were gone for a while? And I was like, mm-hmm. Full of embarrassment. I didn't want to tell her exactly what I had done. Anyway, came out in the end. I had to admit to her that I had in fact fixed it already, and in me fixing it, I reattached the same broken piece of pipe, which was hilarious. Anyway, cut it off, put the new piece of pipe back on again, glue it all together, and I'm super happy. Walk away. Now, bearing in mind, we haven't had any water, okay? I'm covered in mud. It's not ideal. Anyway, we wait. It says wait 20 minutes for the glue to dry, so we're waiting 20 minutes. I'm wanting to cook dinner, and it's now 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, nearly. I know because it's getting dark and the mosquitoes are coming out. Anyway, so this is where it got really funny. I go outside and I turn on the water, and the pipe pulls apart again. So in the pipe pulling apart, it's now filling up this little trough of muddy water. Anyway, so it pulls apart again. I'm furious. I go outside, I dry it all off, take it all out of the water, try and soak up some of the water, and dry it all off again, put the couplings back on, and let it dry. And this time I'm like, I'm going to let it dry for an hour, and then we'll come back. Anyway, come back, and it's now, 8 o'clock at night, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, can you come outside, please, and hold the flashlight? You see where I'm going with this? Anyway, we're outside, and I turned the water on, and I looked down, and I said to her, please, can you hold the flashlight? where I'm looking. So she does. She's holding it down there. And I'm like, oh, great. It looks like it's working. So we both kneel down. We're both sitting looking at the pipe in all my victory. And I'm just thinking, this is amazing. I have done the impossible. I've saved the day. We now have water to shower with, and it's going to be amazing. Anyway, as we're leaning down looking at this, I look down and I'm like, oh man, there's a tiny little drip. So we both, at the same time, reach down to feel where it's coming from. And as we reach down, the pipe explodes. And with it exploding, it explodes all of this mud all over us. So we looked like cartoon characters. You know, like when a car drives past a cartoon character and they stop and they've got the outline of them in mud on the wall? That is what we looked like. Now, the real thing was, we didn't have any water, so we couldn't shower it off. So thank God we live by the ocean. So I decide I'm going to go and jump in the water. So I do. I go and jump in the water. And my girlfriend goes, I'm not jumping in the water. I don't want to be salty and getting into bed. I'm like, okay, great. I can't. So I come back after getting in the ocean. And I've also not called the plumber at this stage. It's 9 o'clock at night. And I need the plumber to not come. So it's like a $300 call-out fee. So I'm pissed. Anyway, go and get into the ocean, come back out again. And I come home, and she is standing butt naked in the bathroom with wet wipes. Having a Burt's Bees wet wipe shower. It was one of the funniest things I have ever seen. It was just a mud fest all over these wet wipes, and just the garbage like just filled with wet wipes. And they were just brown and gross. Anyway, it was pretty hilarious. I had a good giggle about it, and I just learned so much that day that, you know, when the plumber came, I said to him, what did I do wrong? And he said, you didn't do anything wrong. Everything that you did was completely perfect. He said, there might have been the tiniest little bit of water that was in between those two pipes, and the glue didn't set properly. So I said, okay. Anyway, I paid my $300 and learnt my lesson. But here I am. I'm just letting you know that when you've learnt these lessons and you've paid someone else to do it, or you've chopped your finger, or you've got a splinter, or whatever it looks like, you've stubbed your toe, all of these things are things that you will have with you now forever. First time that you get to use a drill and you realize how things work. The first time that you get to use a circular saw. It's the first time that you get to use a planer. Like, all of these things, they're all things that now you get to carry on with the rest of your life, knowing that you can actually operate these things. So it translates into anything in your life. When you've had these experiences with people, that you can now understand what they're going through or what you're going through, and you can grasp that concept and learn from that and move on. But take these skills with you and learn every single day. And the day that you stop learning is the day that you're gonna die. So just open a book, look at some YouTube videos, like follow a woodworking page or a DIY page. All of these people are DIYing everything these days, and you can get so many cool ideas. Even if you don't own your home or anything like that, make yourself something, hang it on the wall. Make a coffee table, make a bench, do whatever you have to do. Like, do something that feels good at the end of the day, that you can look at that thing and go, I have made that thing. It's pretty rewarding. Anyway, that's my 10 cents for the day. I really hope that you have a wonderful day moving forward and learn all the things and take them with you. You deserve it. Stay golden.